We live in a world where the pursuit of abundance, of success is often seen as the pinnacle of everything, of happiness, of your well being, of options, of freedom. Yet, hidden beneath this desire lies an interesting paradox. We yearn for this abundance, we crave it, but we subconsciously fear receiving it. Why? Because receiving means vulnerability. It means tearing down the walls that we've built to protect ourselves, exposing our deepest insecurities and fears to the possibility of disappointment. And we're going to unpack the psychology of receiving today so that you can walk into 2024 being an open container where it feels so much safer to receive. And therefore, your capacity for abundance is absolutely magnified. Aren't you tired of hoping for a better year only to end up in the same place at the end of that year? And then, if you're being honest with yourself, you've repeated that insane cycle year after year after year. And then you have guilt and regret and shame. And then all of this compounds itself and it ends up in the same place in Never Never Land where you've not done anything. Let's commit to breaking this cycle right now. This is why I put out my Make More Work Less guided workbook video course at this exact time of year. So you can transform your money story in under 7 days. This is way more than just another course that would just sit on your laptop and that you're like, oh my God, why did I buy that? I never followed through. And then you get mad at yourself for being such a procrastinator. You actually are going to enjoy and have fun and look forward to doing this course. Most people who have taken it, and hundreds of people have so far in just the short period of time being out, they've binged it and then they've even gone back again to do it because I've purposely designed to make it fun. Because it gets to be fun doing this work, even though some of this work, when you're digging at your money blocks and you're reframing them, can be uncomfortable. That doesn't mean we can't make it enjoyable while doing it. This is a roadmap to a life of abundance and fulfillment and freedom for yourself. I mean, picture yourself in 2024 thriving, successful, and in control of your financial destiny. Stop hoping and start knowing. Take charge right now of your future today and grab my sale. I have a flash holiday sale going on right now where it's 57% off to get in and do this course. You have instant access to it. Go to projectmewithtiffany.com/make more work less, projectmewithtiffany.com/make more work less. You can swipe up. It's in the show notes. It's in the description here on Project Me TV on YouTube. And change your money story. Commit right now. Do the dang thing so that your life can change. It's all here for you. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter. And this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your abundance, your relationships, and everything in between. You know, this episode idea came up for me truly because I did not think I had any sort of blocks when it came to receiving. And many of you who are listening to me, who follow me over on Instagram and TikTok and here on Project Me TV on YouTube, are probably like, well, clearly she has no problems receiving. She has, millions in the bank. This is a top 5 podcast. But we can be blocking and having subconscious resistances to receiving in different areas of our life. So while I don't have that block anymore when it comes to money, although I used to, which is now why I teach this stuff, I am working through resistances of exactly what I'm talking about today when it comes to receiving consistent, genuine support in my personal life and professional life. So while you might not have one in the money house, you might have one when it comes to love. You might not have that when it comes to love and support, but you might have it in money. You might have it in terms of health, in terms of ease of having things flow into your life. So there's so many different areas that this applies to. And wow, it is so vulnerable to trust in receiving in an area where there was a catch. You were taught there was a catch. So, what I like to say about the psychology of receiving is that it's like a complex dance between our desires and our subconscious defenses. We crave success, we crave wealth, we crave fulfillment, we crave the freedom, we crave all the things, yet our minds are wired to shield us from protective harm. So we've developed these defense mechanisms consciously and subconsciously that are inadvertently blocking the very abundance that we crave, all in the name of self-preservation and protection. And think of the signals that sends to the universe in terms of even manifestation. You're saying you want your business to grow. You're saying you want to make all this money passively so you have more freedom and you have more wealth and you have the freedom of time. And you know that making freedom level cash buys you options and you want all these things. Yet you are doing things and acting in a way and thinking in a way that is saying go away. So there's something that I've learned in many, many years of therapy and couples therapy. And in layman's terms, and a lot of therapists will call it the come here, go away. And I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this in dating, which is very annoying, where you say, come here, I want you, I want you, I want you, I want to spend time with you. I really like you. And then once you lean in, then the person takes the foot off the gas and you're in that, which is not healthy, by the way, but you're in that constant push and pull. I see this happening with thousands and thousands of my clients in my Project Me Posse business coaching membership, to my clients who I privately coach, my clients in my mastermind, to the emails that we receive from listeners. By the way, you want to be on my email list. This isn't some like basic ass list. It's called my Secret Posse Weekly Digest for a reason. It is exclusive content that you're getting right from me with manifestation tips, exercises. You get a abundance affirmation of the week, plus you get true personal stories and letters from me to you. Like I wrote them, not AI, not some VA in Zimbabwe. It's coming from me, and they're very potent and powerful. And everyone always says they've received them at just the exact perfect time. And they're designed to digest in 30 seconds or less. Plus, it's free. Go to projectmewithtiffany.com/secret posse. This is also in the show notes of this episode, so you can swipe up. And there's no reason not to be in there. Plus, there is something coming early 2024. And if you're not on the list, you are going to absolutely miss it. And I don't want that for you. I needed to do a heavy sigh. Isn't this time of year is wild, man? So wild. And what I notice also happens this time of year with people. So if it's happening to you, you're going to be very validated right now. We're protecting ourselves and wanting to also avoid pain, which is a form of protection, of thinking about the family we don't have, the love we don't have, the lacking areas, the people who we miss that we're grieving, holidays not looking how we thought they would, the things in the year we thought would happen that didn't happen. There's so much of a mishmash that goes on this time of year. And that also is going to contribute to your brain going into resistance patterns, again, consciously and subconsciously. This doesn't mean you're going to feel it. It's like with certain disease states where it's asymptomatic until it's a big problem. So we have a lot of doctors and healthcare practitioners and healers that listen to this show. And I like using a lot of medical analogies and some really bad analogies as well, where they miss the mark, but that's fine. And there are disease states. Let's just use like diabetes as an example. diabetes is oftentimes asymptomatic until it is symptomatic. You could be walking around with something until you know you have it because some symptom popped up. Sadly, cancer is one of them. Not to put a damper on this, but that just came up because my father died of esophageal cancer that spread to the pancreas, two of the most deadly cancers, and died within 6 weeks of diagnosis. He was asymptomatic until he had symptoms, which is why it's such a deadly cancer. And then it's often too late. Why I use this as an analogy is you are actually seeing and feeling symptoms. But because you're in such a self-protection mode, maybe you're dissociative, where you are, you know, doing a lot of shopping, Netflix watching, sugar eating, and you're avoiding feeling your feelings. You are overworking, you're overdoing stuff in order to avoid staying present, because staying present means you have to deal with the stuff that's going on in your head, and you don't want to really go there. But the more you resist it, the more it persists. And then you keep staying in this dance and exhaust yourself until the symptoms of you not doing this type of work, like the work and the healing work around receiving and money wounds, until it gets really loud, which is you're so pissed off and frustrated and exhausted by feeling like you're doing all the things in your business and it's not getting you very far, or you aren't making the money that you want to make, or maybe you did make money at one point and now you're not, or you're having to work so hard for your money, which was mine, working so hard, overworking for it, having to overwork for everything. Often how we do one thing, we do all things, as I like to say on here. Overworking for love, overworking for friendship, overworking for approval, overworking for my body, overworking. It's insane because I had an ingrained belief that the harder you work, the more of a reward. Fake news. But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're going to sit there and do nothing either. That would be called entitlement. And there's a lot of that going around too. I have a story that recently happened, like very recently, like as of this recording, like yesterday, that I'm going to use as an example. I'm not going to out this person because that wouldn't be right. Truly, I do not believe she realized that she totally subconsciously sabotaged herself. In fact, she probably feels very righteous in what she did, but I'm sure in her nervous system, it doesn't feel good. And when you watch somebody doing it, whether it's a stranger, a family member, or a loved one, when they're like, oh my God, how do they not see this? How do they not see this? Because when we are standing in the frame, we can't see the full picture. That's why it's essential to have coaches, to have therapists, to have all the things, because we're not going to. And you could say, well, I have like a good support system. I have friends. I have, business besties. Yeah, you have to pay people. It's rare. It's rare. I have a couple people in my life where we do this for each other and we don't have to pay each other, but that's like years of cultivation and a lot of work. That's not normal. Yes, I'm putting on lip gloss. If you are wondering why I sounded weird, I just felt like I needed to at that moment. Maybe I'm just watching too many YouTube videos of these people putting on makeup while talking to you. And I just have to go off on a mini tangent about that. Now, one of the things I do teach in my Posse business coaching membership, right, is how to create easy, compelling, high converting videos for your business and getting more clients and cash, and having all your videos be little salespeople for you while you're off doing other things. And one of the tricks, I guess you could say, in order to get people to watch and keep them watching is by doing interesting things while you're talking. And it doesn't have to be related, right? I can be talking about business and cooking, even though we know I don't cook. That could be entertaining, me attempting to cook. Could be you going for a walk while talking. Walk and talks are great. It's visually interesting, and usually your energy's in a better spot. And these bitches on TikTok are doing their full makeup while having conversations. And there aren't that many edits. A lot of them are just straight through without edits. And I can tell when there's a cut because I have a trained eye to that. And I tried this and it was an epic fail. And I really should have saved the video because it's hysterical. I was like, I can't concentrate on this and talk at the same time. Like there's a lot of multitasking I can do, but wow, that one's tough. I'm just saying. But like if you can do it, very, very interesting. Very impressed with that process. I digress. So if your mind is wired to shield you from potential harm, you need to remind yourself of that. Your body and mind is doing that to protect you. Therefore, if you are not consciously working, so to speak, with that, working to, I don't want to say against it like you're fighting, because that sounds exhausting, but working to intentionally and diligently manage that daily, it's naturally set up to shield you. That's why nothing's happened. So you've developed an intricate defense mechanism that is blocking exactly what you want. So think about this. How many times have you self-sabotaged just when success seemed within reach? And you might be going, I don't think I've ever done that, Tiffany. We've all done it. I've done it too, many, many times. How often have you hesitated to accept a compliment, a promotion, or an opportunity? Or maybe you received something, but you brush it off, right? Like when I used to get compliments, and this is one of the things I want you to start practicing, just like how I teach manifestation, right? We practice it in stages. You don't want to go from someone who has like not total belief in the possibility of manifestation and that it will work for you and that it's not hocus pocus, and then manifesting some like extravagant 5-star European luxury vacation. I want you to start small. Same with this kind of stuff, because if you go and jump right in the deep end and you've not learned how to swim, you'll be in a full panic, right? So we need to build up your tolerance for receiving. One of my clients, Dr. Jordan, who specializes in pleasure, often talks about building a tolerance for pleasure. And there is a very interesting correlation, right? Because to experience pleasure, you must be open and willing to receive pleasure. And that is also very vulnerable and uncomfortable for people. And it does have a similar dotted line in there. So when it comes to receiving, in terms of like getting a compliment, I would get a compliment, and this is the progression of it. I would make a self-deprecating joke. Someone would be like, "Oh my God, you look great. What are your workouts?" Da 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 da. And this was in the throes of my exercise addiction, which I don't know what I was trying to look like. I wanted to be like the girls on the covers of the magazines. Meanwhile, I'd love to have that body that I had then now, but I thought I was disgusting. Thank you. But that was my diseased mind. So someone would say something to me nice like that, and I would go, well, my arms might look great today, but we don't, all the fat's in my stomach. I'd say I would be rejecting even receiving a compliment, or someone would want to treat me to a coffee. And I go, no, 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 don't worry about it. Like I got my own, or I've got it, and not let someone else pay for me who genuinely wanted to pay without an agenda. Or I might have not even gone, when I was in the corporate world, gone after a promotion where I was like, I don't know, the chances are probably slim. I'm not even going to put my hat in the ring because I know, my boss or the director is just going to pick so-and-so anyway. It's like, I already blocked the receiving and the possibility before it even began. So how do we start working with and breaking free from this and managing this? And you have to manage this all the time. Like I said, I recently see that I have a receiving, we're going to call it a block that I'm working through when it comes to high quality support. And that as I continue to flourish and gain in more popularity and visibility and success, my fear is that I won't have people supporting me because they'll be jealous and they'll turn on me, because I've had that happen in the past. And so let's dive in to where this stuff comes from. Okay. A lot of this whole psychology of receiving, where do most things stem from? It stems from childhood and significant relationships in our lives that were toxic. And it is when you believe there's some kind of catch, there's some kind of danger, there's some kind of unsettling thing that occurs when you receive something. It is like, it is not safe to receive. Receiving is bad. I'm going to have to pay a price to receive. So, in growing up myself with a single parent narcissist in a heavily abusive household, I was raised wealthy. So a lot of people are shocked to know that because they're like, oh, you were raised wealthy. So why would you have had any money blocks, abundance blocks, receiving blocks? People want to think, oh, that happens when people are raised poor because they don't have anything. And they were told by their parents, oh, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. This does not matter. It's just a different set of circumstances. Okay. So mine was I would receive, but there was a price to pay. I couldn't trust it. And even by, I would say, middle school age, I knew that if my mom said, let's go shopping, and she would do it randomly, and my whole nervous system would be on high alert. And I knew I had to agree. I couldn't not agree. Anyone who's been in a relationship with a narcissist knows, like, you have to go along with it if you're depending on them for survival. But I knew at that young of age, oh boy. And so I would go, and yeah, the shopping experience could be fine, but it was the next day. And then I'd wake up with a long list typed up on a fucking typewriter on her letterhead of age inappropriate chores that I had to do. And she would sign her first name. Sometimes I got a love mom. Other times I just got her first name, which I won't say on the show. And I'd go, oh, my stomach would sink because there was a little part of me that hoped that there wouldn't be a catch this time. So, and then I would see it, and I mean, it would be insane. I mean, these would take all day, or they would just be so inappropriate based on my age. So what was I taught? That if I want to receive, I'm going to have to work my ass off and do tedious, horrible, miserable things for hours and hours and hours and hours. Hence, I became a workaholic. Hence, I became the person who was working when I built my first business 70 to 80 hours a week, because that's what I was taught when it came to receiving. So why would I want to receive more at a certain point? Because I had no more to give. I had no more energy or time to give. So why would I want to receive more clients, more work, more accolades, more press, more things? Because I was filleth up. Like, I couldn't take any more. You see what I'm saying? But I wasn't aware of any of this until I had a full health breakdown, and the hidden symptoms became loud, glaring symptoms that woke me the fuck up. Thank God, because this is also what I do to pay it forward and teach you today. So the little tiny symptoms, though, were there, but I didn't have someone like me to listen to point these things out about not taking compliments, being uncomfortable receiving gifts, telling people no when they go to pay for you, or when they ask you, what do you want for your birthday? Or what do you want for Christmas? And you go, oh, nothing. Oh, nothing. When someone really wants to give you something and we reject it, whether it's time, whether it's help, whether it's support, whether it's a hug, whether it's a shoulder to lean on, and we reject it, you're also rejecting that person, and you're sending a signal and a message to the universe that you don't want to receive. So why would you receive? So if you have a belief that receiving more of what you want, money, love, support, that receiving more of what you want is going to come at a price, and it's going to be unsafe, and the amount of danger only increases with the amount you receive, and the cost of it, the price you have to pay, gets higher with the amount No wonder why you're at a financial plateau. No wonder why you can't seem to get to where you want to go, because subconsciously your system believes there's a catch, because there was a catch growing up, because there was a catch with that ex-husband or wife, because there was a catch in XYZ relationship. But that doesn't have to be your story going forward. We get to change our story at any given day. You do. And I understand you have a whole bunch of evidence. So do I. We have a whole bunch of stored evidence that I have stored evidence that people turn on you, that people get really uncomfortable the more successful I get, and then they go away. I have a lot of fucking evidence of that, right? But I also I have evidence of clutch people too, right? I do have evidence of that. But we tend to focus because, like I said, we are hardwired to protect ourselves. So I naturally focus on all the incidents and all the conditioning. But let's make a point of at least doing fair balance and going, yeah, but this person's always been there for me. God's always been there for me. The universe is there for me. I may have not been there for me in the past. I may have neglected myself and abandoned myself in various relationships. I may have even verbally abused myself and physically abused myself with my exercise addiction and overworking and overdoing in the past. But I no longer do that. I'm someone who honors myself now. I'm someone who enjoys receiving. I want to receive. I am ready now to receive. And take it in doses. So, going back to the compliment thing, how I started practicing this is then when someone would compliment me, I would say thank you, even if in my head I was screaming, like, okay, what do they want from me? Oh, they're just being nice. Oh, they want to get laid. Oh, whatever. They're just a nice person. And then it went to the next level of getting a compliment. And I would take a moment and pause and allow myself to feel it and take it in and look at them in their eyes and go, thank you. That was really nice to hear. I appreciate that. And fucking mean it. And then not walk away chastising myself to negate that, to come back to the spot of not receiving, not receiving, not receiving. Now when someone brings a gift, I mean, I get sent so much stuff from companies, from brands, but from listeners, from clients. And instead of going, you shouldn't have sent me anything, you shouldn't have bought me anything, you don't have to do that, don't say that. That doesn't feel good to people. I said, wow, that feels really good. When you guys write an email, when you guys comment on my posts, when you guys DM me, when you guys post, shout out my posse members, when you guys share, your experiences with the Make More Work Less course that's out, and you're taking pictures of the workbook and you're sharing your heartfelt experiences and you're showing them online and tagging me in them. I try to do my best to respond to as many of those as possible. And I take those in and I sit there and I really take it in. Wow. Why am I getting so emotional right now? Whew. See, this is important for you guys to hear this. This is really important for you to hear this. I mean, listen to this. Wow, this course is life-changing, Tiffany. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on coaching and nothing has gotten to the root of my money blocks like your course. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sharing this with everyone. That's from Lisa O'Neill. And I sit there and I feel it. I allow myself to feel it because I deserve to receive. I do. I pour so much out on here. I pour so much out in video. I pour so much out of energy, time, money, and heart and soul into my programs, into my offerings. I deserve to receive that back, and I welcome more. I love reading all the podcast reviews, and I welcome more, and it feels so good. Do you see the difference? And yeah, there's some weird shit that also happens, right? We get some nasty people, some wild comments, but that's only 1 to 3% of people. But my ego, my hardwiring and your hardwiring wants to get fixated on that and give a lot of energy to that to then keep the case going of, see, it's not safe to receive. See, it's dangerous to receive. See, this is what happens when you put yourself out there. See. But what about all the rest? So this quick story, and you might see yourself in this. I feel very compelled to share it so that generally when I share a story like this, it's because it's going to really hit home. So I source all my own guests for my podcast, me personally. I highly curate the show and I like vetting people to make sure they're not going to circle talk you or be full of shit. Sometimes that's the mark. Not as much anymore. There's been a couple people early on, but not so much because you guys deserve the best and you get it. And I was looking for a particular expert in an area, put it out into the universe as I do. And usually something comes across my feed at some point. And this person did. And I went, oh, that happened quickly. That's cool. Binge the content. And this is kind of giving you an inside look of how, people find podcast guests and quite frankly, hire people for services, etc. And binged her content. And I was like, okay, I vibe her. Like I vibe it. Like, we can go a little deeper here. And I was like, I like it. Sent a private message saying like what topic I'm wanting to cover. And it sounds like this could be a really good fit. Does this sound exciting to you to be on the show? And I don't assume people have heard of the show. I mean, it's, I understand, like, I'm not, Joe Rogan over here yet. So I put the name of the show and just said like it's a top 5 show in the business, entrepreneurship, and money categories worldwide. And the response I got was something along the lines of, this sounds interesting, but I would really need to know more to feel like to make a decision or something like that. It was not, this sounds great. This is free fucking press. Okay. And you could tell how quickly the response was. It's not like this person like binged the show or went and even looked at my stuff. And this person was not following me. And I went, okay, well, that didn't feel good to me. I was like, okay, this sounds like this person's going to be a lot of work and I'm not going to convince anyone to be on my show. It's a hell yes or a hell no. And I wrote back, there really is nothing more to it than what topic I just expressed to you. But perhaps, go listen to the show and see if it's a good fit for you. It's really important for me that the guests are eager and excited to be on the show. And then didn't hear back. I don't know. I don't keep track. I get like a fucking 100 DMs a day, but I do my best to respond to as many as possible. And got a response. I don't know. I think it was the next day. Again, why would I'm not looking. It's not like, this is not like a life or death situation. And then it was said, I would like to be on your show. Something very simple like that. Okay. And I said, all we need is your email. And then my podcast coordinator will set it up. And I moved on. I'm assuming she probably gave her email, but I moved on. Like it's holiday season. I have lots of things going on, as does everyone else. And it's not like this is, Fox News and I'm having someone on the 11 o'clock news. Okay. This is podcast. So I was walking to go get wax, which is an unnecessary piece of information for you, but that's okay. This is why you listen. And often I'm responding to DMs in like pockets of my time, right? Like it's not like I'm sitting at my desk doing it. Like I do it while I'm waiting in line for something or I'm walking somewhere. And I looked at my DMs and then I see there's a DM from her, but how you can read like that first like line usually. And she was accusing me of giving being disingenuous. And it was a disingenuous offer and she's not received an email from me. And clearly this is a disingenuous offer. And if it's not, she'll need a reply. Like, she'll need a reply and she's not going to reach out again. And I was like, what? I'm like, is this for real? And I literally wrote that back. I went, what? Question mark, question mark. And it's like disingenuous. And I said, I source all my guests. And I said, and I don't use a chat bot in any of my private messages. It's actually me because I give a shit about my people. And I want you to know it's me. And you can tell the difference because you guys aren't idiots. And I said, it's just me. And I was like, it hadn't even been like 12 hours. And her response is, well, I just need to know either way if it's a yes or a no. And I was like, obviously, she made it a no. And so I responded, well, now it is a no. And then there was some other message this morning that was like, I appreciate you having the business integrity to let me know you didn't want me on your show, but your marketing tactics are manipulative in trying to think you're going to make someone be a guest on your show or some shit like that. And of course, like delete it or whatever. That was the universe protecting me, saying, this is not the right person for your show. The reason I gave the play-by-play of that story is because, do you see how I explained the psychology of receiving here? Do you see what she just did? I guarantee you she's not aware of it. She had so much resistance to being offered genuinely out of the blue a piece of abundance, an opportunity to be on a top show that would have given her tons of clients and press, given what she does for a living and what we're going to be talking about. And she basically sabotaged this before it even began. And it was bizarre behavior. And my guess is she probably still even thinks that she was righteous in all of this, but she blew her own opportunity for no reason. And I am giving grace and compassion and sending love to her because she probably doesn't even know she does that. She automatically made an assumption that this is some kind of marketing schemey tactic with some kind of AI chatbot that goes out and does this and makes people feel like they're going to be a guest on a show, blah, 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 without even, if she took 5 minutes to research me, she would know that's not a thing. Right? And she blew it. And you've blown it too before. I have too. In different ways, maybe in ways as insane as that, where rejection of receiving. So do you think that she is going to receive more opportunities like that anytime soon without doing heavy work around this? Absolutely not. She just created a self-fulfilling prophecy for herself. See, there's always a catch. See, I can't be on higher level podcasts. See, whatever her thing is. This is why it's so important for you to do this work and for you to get the damn Make More Work Less course, because this is the stuff we unpack in there and shift in there. Because you are repelling abundance in about 1 million ways without even realizing it. And that should fucking scare you. Absolutely should scare you enough to take action on doing this thing. The link is in the show notes. It's also in the link in bio over on Instagram and TikTok at Project Me with Tiffany. I have been finally bestowed upon me, verified on Instagram. So you guys know, because there's all these people copying me, using my image, copying my content, pretending to be me on TikTok, on all the things. There is a blue check next to my name on my account on Instagram. So you know it's me. Okay. They can't get that. That's not possible. We have done a long application process for this on TikTok where I had to stand there and take various pictures of me from various angles with my ID and had to do all of this stuff, which I appreciate that they're that stringent about it. And I'm sure that'll come through for there as well. But I just wanted to give you a heads up. We are aware of how out of control it is. And we can't do anything about it. Just continue to report and block these people. But start by welcoming in receiving. I welcome this, and start small with compliments, with gifts, with a gesture, with someone holding the door for you, with someone offering to put your bag up in the overhead and the airplane. I used to not let people do that. Oh, it's okay. I've got it. I work out all the time. Let the people close to you do it. Let the strangers do it, and do your best to feel it in your body. It feels good to receive. It's safe to receive. It's safe to receive. It's safe to receive now. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you.